Welcome to this session, everyone, all about OET on computer at the test venue. We are really pleased to be able to bring you information today about this new test delivery mode. During the session, we want to clarify any doubts you have and answer any questions that you've got as well. My name is Alex. I'm from the OET education team, and joining me is our teaching and learning coordinator, Lauren Tyrrell. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on today.
And we will take questions at the end of the session today, but we have Kat here, our customer service manager. So if you have questions while we're talking, please use the chat box and Kat will do her best to answer them for you. The session is being recorded, so don't worry if you have to drop out. You can catch up later. We will send the recording. We are going to start today with an overview of the OET delivery modes available. Then Lauren will explain in detail how OET on a computer works and what it looks like. We'll cover how to prepare for the test, how to book and find availability, and we'll finish with some frequently asked questions as well as your questions. Starting with the delivery modes, you're probably very familiar with the first one. So OET on paper at a test venue. This delivery mode will not be changing or disappearing. So this is still available, OET on paper at a venue. But our new delivery mode, as you know, is OET on computer at a venue. And we are going to talk about this a lot today. Coming soon, towards the end of the year, OET at home will be launched. And of course, we will share information about this when it's available, hopefully very soon. I want to spend a moment to go through the key similarities and the differences between OET on paper and OET on computer. And I'll start with the similarities. What is the same? So the format of the test and the order is the same. Listening first, then reading, and then writing. Speaking is still a separate test. And the test is the same in terms of the length and the timing of the sections. The scoring and the way that you're scored is the same. So assessors mark your writing and speaking, and listening and reading part A, and the rest is computer marked. In terms of results, this is the same for paper and computer. They are available 14 business days after your test. So 14 business days, meaning Monday to Friday days. And lastly, the cost of the test is the same for both delivery modes. But there are some important differences, and I'll cover three of them here, the three key ones. Firstly, the professions. OET on paper is available to all 12 professions, all 12 healthcare professions. OET on computer is currently available for nursing and medicine only. The speaking test is also different. When you take OET on paper at a venue, your test is also at the venue, one-on-one with an interlocutor. But when you take OET on computer at a test venue, the speaking test is actually at your home and conducted via Zoom, but also one-on-one with a live interlocutor. Lauren will talk about that in a lot more detail later. And the third difference I want to mention is recognition. Different regulators have different rules, so always check with your regulating authority and just make sure they accept results from OET on computer. I can tell you currently ECFMG, NMC and GMC accept, and we're working really closely with other regulators around the world to get them to accept OET on computer too. So I want to pass now to Lauren, and she is going to walk through the 4 subtests and show you how they look and how they work on computer. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, so in a moment, I'm going to be taking you through the computer interface, showing you some of the important features of each of the 4 skills tests. But first, we would love to know the answer to a question about your own OET preparation so far. And I wonder how many of you have already visited our website and tried out our free practice tests on computer. Let's do a quick poll question. And the question is, have you done an OET on computer sample test yet? So I'm just going to set this up, and it should appear on your screen now. Just click on either yes or no. And hopefully we'll get an idea of our audience group today and find out just how familiar you are so far with the test. Okay, so we've got some results coming in. I'll just wait 10 or 20 seconds, and then I'll tell you what percentage of you need to know more information, and some of you have already given the answers. Thank you for sharing. So it's looking at the moment as though 80% of you have still not accessed our computer tests on the website. Some of you have, I think 16% have, but 83% so far, it tells me that you haven't, going up. So in that case, I think you're in the right place, because I hope indeed that we'll be able to offer you a very good overview of what to expect in the computer test. And then perhaps at the end of this session, you might wish to go onto the website and practice these. Now, there are 3 tests currently available, 2 for nursing and 1 for medicine. But of course, the listening and the reading parts of the test are the same for all health professions. So you could actually practice all 3 of those in the listening and reading section. And there is an answer key there too for you to check your own answers at the end. So that's really interesting. It's staying at 85% of you that have not yet been on the website. So please don't worry, we're going to give you access and links to show you where to find those. And maybe it will give you a really good opportunity to practice after you've watched this session. Okay, so we'll end that poll now. Thanks for sharing. All right, so let's look at an overview and a summary of each of the subtests. First thing I just want to mention before we go ahead is that if some of you still are not quite sure about aspects of the test, or you still have questions, we are going to provide you with a comprehensive list of links to the website where you can watch videos and check out the information all over again. So this will come through at the end of the webinar. And of course, this is being recorded, so if you didn't manage to see all of this today, you can access it once again. Okay, now I'm going to show you what to expect on the day of the OET computer test at your venue. And then I'm going to talk you through the speaking part of the test, which will take place at your home via Zoom with a live interlocutor. Now, before entering the test room, you need to complete the usual registration and security checks, just the same as for the paper-based test. Now remember, the only items you're allowed to bring in are a clear water bottle, your ID document, and of course a face mask. And all the other standard regulations will still apply as for the paper-based test. So no phones, no watches, no bags or jewellery, electronic items, I should say, or writing materials. Now the room may look something like this. As you arrive, you're shown to your own cubicle where the desktop computer and headphones for the test will be set up for you. I would say the whole test would take around 3 hours to complete from beginning to end. Once the test begins, you're shown a tutorial. Each tutorial page contains detailed instructions of how to navigate around the screen, how to highlight information, how to choose an answer and strike out answers in a multiple choice. And I'll be demonstrating these in just a moment. But we strongly recommend that you take the time to watch this, even if you feel very confident at that point that you know what to expect. It will help to just reinforce your understanding. Now, in the computer-based test, there will be a clock at the top of your screen, and it will be there all of the time so that you can refer to it and help to manage your timing. And the first part of the test is, of course, the listening. I'm going to show you a brief video now that explains what to expect in part A, B, and C of the listening test. And it'll show you clearly all the navigation tools that you can use to move around and choose your answers and so on. At the start of the listening test, you have 1 minute to read the instructions screen. You're reminded that the audio will play automatically and you can't pause or replay it. Clicking Next takes you to the listening part A. This section usually lasts around 15 minutes. You listen to recordings of 2 consultations between a health professional and a patient. You're given 30 seconds to read through the questions before each consultation begins. You can scroll up and down the screen to check the notes using your mouse or your arrow key on the keyboard. Once the audio begins, you type your answers while you listen. Remember, you will only hear the recording once. Use your mouse or the tab key to move to the next box. There will be 20 seconds allowed between the first and second dialogue to allow you to check your answers. In Part B, there are 6 different extracts from the healthcare workplace. The audio begins automatically once the page loads, but it pauses for 15 seconds to allow you to read each question before the speaker starts. Then you answer the questions as you listen, choosing one multiple choice question about each separate recording. Do this by clicking on the box A, B or C with your mouse. Now I'm going to show you 2 features you can use if you wish to help you work out the answer. The first is the highlighting function. You can use this to highlight words in the question if it helps to do this. Simply left-click your mouse and drag to highlight. There's also a strikeout function here. Right-click an answer option if you want to eliminate it. Some candidates use this to cross out wrong answers, but it's completely optional. You can undo this again by simply clicking again. To select a correct answer, click left in the box. Click again to undo. You can change your answers at any time during the part. Just make sure you've chosen an answer for each question before the test moves on. You'll be given time at the end to check your answers before moving on to Part C. In Part C, you listen to 2 different extracts of either a presentation or an interview on a health-related issue. This one here is an interview with Dr. Robson about Chagas disease. There are 12 multiple choice questions altogether, 6 for each extract. And this time you're given 90 seconds at the start of each extract to scroll up and down, studying the questions and answer options before the recording starts. Make sure you use all of this time to anticipate what you're going to hear. The same highlighting and strikeout functions are available to you if you wish to use them. Once again, you choose A, B or C by clicking on the box. At the end, some time is given to you to check your answers. Okay, so next we move on to the reading test. You're given 1 minute to read all of the instructions, or as soon as you click Next in that bottom right corner, the 15 minutes will start for reading Part A. Now there are 20 questions to answer, all in 15 minutes. And then the screen splits into 2. The instructions, questions and timer are on the right, and the texts are on the left. And there are some other tools as well to help you, like tools to move the page up and down and to zoom in and out. These are the tools to unpin and close. Unpinning the PDF with the 2 arrows will move the text on top of the questions, and closing the PDF will of course close it. If you do close the text, this PDF icon here underneath the questions allows you to open it again. But generally our advice would be to leave the split screen there, because you can easily scroll up and down both text and questions at the same time. For the first set of questions in Part A, choose from texts A, B, C or D. The next block of questions work in the same way as the paper-based test. Remember, you're only writing a word or a short phrase taken directly from the text to complete the answer. And no need to change any word endings or paraphrase. And you're given a 5-minute warning before the time is up for reading part A. Now, after reading part A is complete, you have the option to take a short 10-minute break, if you wish. You can either just stay in your seat and rest, or you can leave the room. But remember, if you do leave, you need to go through the security checks once again when you return. Now, you also have a choice to skip this and move straight on to B and C if you wish. Reading B and C are all multiple choice questions, given 45 minutes in total. And just like in the paper-based test, you're free to move through both sections at your own pace. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. Use the next and back buttons, or you can use the dark blue tabs in the top left corner to choose the question you wish to read. Questions 1 to 6 are for reading B, and then 7 and 8 refer to part C questions. As you move through to part C, the screen automatically splits again into 2 panes for you to read the text and to answer the questions on the right. You can scroll through these panels independently, so you'll find it very easy to navigate around. The highlighting function and the strikeout function are available here too, if you want to use them. If you use all of the 45 minutes, a pop-up message appears, telling you that the time for answering questions is complete. Before this, though, you will get reminders when there are 10 minutes and 5 minutes remaining. Now, the writing section is the next and final part of the computer-based test at your venue. So once again, you're given 1 minute to read the instructions, and then the case notes will appear on the left side of the screen as the screen automatically splits again. Just like in the paper-based test, you're given 5 minutes of reading time to study those case notes and to start to understand the task. During this time, you can't type anything, but you can use those features in the top left corner to make the text bigger or to move up and down the page. You can hit next and finish the 5 minutes reading time early if you wish, but we wouldn't recommend doing this. Now, when the 5 minutes is up, you're shown the split pane with room to write your letter on the right side. Now your 40 minutes starts. If you wish, you can highlight sections of the notes and of the task itself. Now, just a reminder here that there will be no spell check option and also no cut and paste option. So now you start writing your letter. At the end, you check for your own spelling and grammar mistakes and make use of all of the time allocated to proofread everything. So that completes the summary of the 3 skills tests at the venue on the computer. I hope that's all been clear for you. Now, just before we go on to talk about the speaking test and how that will work for you at home, I'd just like to ask another poll question of you, please. So my poll question is, have you ever used Zoom? As you probably know, Zoom is a very well-known video conferencing service. It's a globally used, free to download software tool for communication. And I'd just like to know how many of you are familiar with this. So I'm going to set this up just 1 minute. I'll get the poll going again. Great. So you should see the options coming up on your screen. And let's just see what results come in. Thank you for sharing. Some good answers coming in. And not surprisingly, I'm seeing that, oh my goodness, 100% of you have already used Zoom. That's not surprising because, of course, so many of us have been forced to spend more time at home, and we've had to work and study and even socialise from home during the pandemic time. And I think Zoom has been a very popular choice of platform for communication. And one of the reasons that OET uses this for their speaking test at home is that it's very reliable, it's secure, It's free to download, and I think you find it very easy to navigate around. Yes, definitely 100%. Not surprising. Okay, thanks for sharing that, everyone. All right, let's moving on now to the speaking test. How's it going to work for you? You're going to choose a time and a day that's available when booking, close to your other 3 subtests, and you'll be talking to a live interlocutor who will connect with you via Zoom at the agreed time. Now, it's important that you're fully prepared and you're aware of the technical requirements before booking your test. We're going to share with you later a comprehensive online speaking test guide, a link to that at the end, but just take note of the summary I'm going to give you now of all the regulations and system requirements. So first of all, in terms of technical requirements, you can choose your own device. You can use either a desktop computer, a laptop, or a tablet to do the test on. Let's see what else you need to be aware of. You obviously need a reliable internet connection on the day. You need to have a fully functioning, reliable webcam, either internal or external is fine. And you need to download Zoom before the day to your device. It's a good idea to run a system check just to make sure that it's functioning correctly. No dual monitors or screens are permitted in this test. Just be aware of that. And a reminder once again that mobile phones are not accepted as a choice of device when taking this test, and they must not be in the room with you. And finally, no earphones or headphones are accepted in this test. You'll be talking and listening through your device itself. Okay, so next, what can you bring into the room? Well, you need to clear the room of any extra materials, such as books or other devices. You can only really have a clear water bottle, your ID, and some plain paper and a pen on the desk if you wish to take notes. But otherwise, your desk should be clear. If the interlocutor sees anything which doesn't comply with the guidelines, you may be asked to remove it. Then, at the agreed time, you click on the link sent to you by the email, and this will connect you with the interlocutor. Once you've successfully logged in and greeted the interlocutor, the first thing they'll do is carry out some identity checks. And you'll be asked to show your ID. They check your ID is the same one that you used for your booking. If it's a different one, then I'm afraid you won't be allowed to continue taking the test. So just be aware of that. They also take a screenshot of your face. Next, there's the environment check. They need to look at the area around you and make sure that it's appropriate. So you need to show a 360-degree view of the room, making sure that the door is closed and that you're alone with no distractions. Some people like to use a mirror to show this. And then finally, they need to do what's called a personal check. If you wear glasses, they may ask you just to remove them and show them to the interlocutor. You'll need to show your ankles, your ears, your wrists, then empty your pockets just to prove you're not carrying any recording device. And then finally, after this, you're ready to begin the test itself. So just like in the paper-based test, you're asked a few general questions as a warm-up, and then you'll be shown a role-play card on your screen and given 3 minutes to read through and plan your consultation. You can write notes on paper while preparing, and don't worry, the card will remain up on the screen throughout the whole test, so you can refer to it if necessary. Now, during those 3 minutes, try to imagine yourself in that real healthcare scenario. Remember that you can ask the interlocutor brief questions if you need to, such as checking the name that you're going to use for the patient or checking an unfamiliar word on the card. All of this follows exactly the same guidelines as the paper-based test. Now, once the 5 minutes begins, you'll be taking on the role of the health professional and you will start the consultation. Remember, the interlocutor will manage the whole recording for you. And when the speaking test is completed, the recording will be sent to Melbourne for assessment. And although you're speaking via a video call, the assessors only receive an audio recording of your test. Okay, so that concludes the summary of how the speaking test works. I hope that's covered everything, and I'm going to pass you back now to Alex, and she's going to talk a little more about ways you can start preparing for a computer-based test.
Certainly, thank you for that. Yeah, let's move on to discuss how to prepare for OET on computer. I'm going to share with you in the chat box a file, and this file has links to a lot of the things that Lauren has talked about and also the preparation materials that I'm about to talk about. So that should appear for you now on your side. Just grab that, and every link we've mentioned should be on there. I'm going to talk about 4 main places to prepare, but the first one's probably the most important, the OET preparation portal. This is where you'll find a huge range of free resources to prepare for OET, including OET on computer. In the portal, there are free masterclasses for all 4 skills. There are links to live lessons from our premium all-star providers. There is the comprehensive writing guide and lots more as well. So be sure to start your preparation in the OET preparation portal. Also in the portal, you'll find sample tests, and Lauren mentioned these earlier as well. You're probably pretty familiar with the paper-based sample tests, and you'll find the computer ones in the same location. So on that file I've shared, there's a direct link. When you're on the page, you need to click the little grey box which says OET on computer, and that will give you 3 practice tests to try out all that functionality. So Lauren has shown you what it looks like, all of the tools available, but we really recommend getting hands-on before your test so that you can experience what it's really like on test day. We have also got our ultimate guide to OET on computer. This is separated into part 1 and part 2. The guide includes videos and all the information that you need from preparing through to booking through to taking the test, as well as how your results are delivered. And the last one I want to mention is the OET Speaking Test Online User Guide. As Lauren showed, the speaking test is taken from home with Zoom, and there are quite a few requirements, just technical requirements and things to be aware of in terms of what you're wearing and what's on your desk. So the OET Speaking Test User Guide will explain all of that, also linked from your document. Let's talk about how to book and how to find availability. Now, of course, you can find the link for the booking in the PDF and all over the OET website, or you can go directly to booking.oet-global.com. And from there, you'll be guided through the booking process. I'll show you a few of the steps. You can see there are a few headings here: welcome, about you, your test, your details, your ID, payment. So as you book the test, you're going to need your ID, and the final stage is payment. In the first screen here, you put your email address in. As you move through, you're asked for more details. What's your name? What country are you going to take the test in? What profession? So either nursing or medicine on the next screen. What date? So you can choose a month. And what city are you going to take the test in, or do you want to take the test in? And then when you find an option, you can select that, and then you'll be guided to book your speaking test. And the speaking test may be a day or a couple of days before the listening, reading, writing sections, or a day or a couple of days after that part of the test. So you can choose a time and a day that suits you. The availability there is based on our interlocutors' availability, but there are plenty of spaces available. From there, you will upload a copy of your ID. As Lauren mentioned, of course, make sure the ID you book with is the ID you take with you on test day and have with your Zoom speaking test as well. And the final stage is the payment. So we want to open it up to you guys, if you have questions about anything we've mentioned today or any questions about OET on computer in general, we've got Kat here from customer service who can help out in the chat, and we're going to answer some as well. But we thought we'd start with some of the most commonly asked questions that we've been seeing related to computer OET. So while you're thinking of questions or putting them in the chat box, Lauren and I will just cover these 4. So I'll talk about the first one. Of course, we're getting a lot of questions about COVID. With so much COVID uncertainty, how will I know if my test is going ahead? We have information updated constantly about this. So there's a link there on the screen. There's also a link in the document we've shared. Otherwise, you can get in touch with our customer service team who will be able to help you. But yeah, we are constantly updating tests that are going ahead or have been changed on the website. The second, perhaps related question that we get is, can I reschedule if I test positive for COVID-19? The answer is absolutely yes, you can. You will need to do this through our customer support team. So they will be able to help you through the steps to do that, but definitely possible. And Lauren, do you want to take the final 2?
Certainly, yes. So the next question that's commonly asked is, will there be headphones available at the venue? And of course, the answer to that is yes. There will always be headphones available at every test venue when you take your test on computer. They are set up for you to use, and you can adjust your own volume to suit your needs. The final question there, can I do some subtests in computer-based mode and some in paper-based mode? The answer to that, I'm afraid, is no. You must do all 4 subtests, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, in one chosen delivery mode. So, for example, if you choose computer-based testing, you can't take writing on a paper-based booking. It must be all in the same delivery mode.
Thank you. Okay, so a couple of questions coming through, and just a final poll question. For our interest, we'd like to know, how likely are you to take OET on computer in future? I'm just going to launch the final poll, and that will appear on your end. So how likely are you to take OET? Very likely, likely, not sure, or not likely. Just choose what works for you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, kind of split, 50% very likely. Okay, a few still not sure. So if you're not sure because you are not sure about something related to the test, please feel free to put your questions in the chat box now. We'll answer what we can, or we'll refer you to Kat and her awesome customer support team. Okay, thank you. So very likely, split with not sure. Thanks for that. So that brings us to the Q&A section. And we will see what we've got. Hopefully we've answered most of your concerns, but yeah, if there's anything that we've missed or you'd like us to cover again, go for it in the chat box.
I think we must have done such a good job. There's not that many questions coming in at the moment. Here they come.
Yeah, a couple about is the test available in my country or my city? So we really recommend check the available dates on our website. Kat has shared the link in the chat box there, and we've got it on our file as well. It's being updated pretty regularly, so that is the best place to have a look for tests in your area. All right, there's a question here about paper and computer. Are both delivery modes available at all test centres? That's a great question. The answer to that at the moment is no. As OET on computer is quite new, it's still rolling out. So there are more OET on paper test venues at the moment. And most of those venues are just paper. They don't have both options at the moment. So the computer tests are probably in separate locations, perhaps separate cities. We'll grab a couple more. Inianong asks, I think says, I'm not very good on the computer, especially typing speed. Yeah, well, this is a concern for some people, absolutely. A lot of people underestimate their computer skills, and so I would really recommend to you try out the practice test, the computer practice test on our website. So you can do the full test on the computer and you will be able to see that I can manage it or I can't. If you're really struggling to type fast enough, well, then go for OET on paper. There are both options available. But yeah, give it a try, because you might be surprised. You don't need to be an Olympic speed typer. But yeah, you do need to feel comfortable. That's why the practice tests are freely available. Would you add anything to that?
Well, it's a very personal thing. It depends on your own background and how much experience you have on computers every day. Some people have been waiting a long time for computer-based testing to come. They're really looking forward to doing that and much prefer it, whereas other candidates have always used paper-based for all of the testing they've done through their life and don't wish to change. So as Alex said, I really suggest that you just go on and have a practice and try and see how you cope with the timed situation of typing your answers in. Maybe that you're just unsure about this delivery mode, and once those doubts are cleared up, you may decide that in fact you can put your answers in more quickly and you're able to focus on the questions more easily. It's really up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jayshree, hello. Jayshree says, can I have the computer practice test link? You absolutely can. Perhaps, Kat, if you can share that in the chat box, just to save me looking for it. And also be sure to grab the PDF, which we have shared. There's a link on that to the preparation portal on the website, and you'll be able to find the practice tests in there. I'll just give Katrina a moment to find that link for you. Okay. Just 1 second for that. All right, final few seconds. Okay, Gabrielle has a question. Do you want to grab that, Lauren, if the speaking part is done?
I'm just looking at that one now. Gabrielle asks, if the speaking part is done through speaking, how is it done on the paper delivery mode? So if you choose paper delivery mode, you will be doing your speaking test at the venue with a live interlocutor in a room. And so they operate the recording device, and then they send that recording back to Melbourne for assessment. So it's not done at home, it's done at a venue. I hope that's answered your question clearly enough.
Yeah, we call it OET on paper, but the speaking test is done in a face-to-face live interaction. Yeah.
Okay, looks like we might have finished all of the questions coming in now.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you. So Katrina has shared the link to the practice test, and just remember to click on the little grey box which says OET on computer, and that will take you to the computer tests, obviously. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We hope that was useful and that you feel more confident. If not, go and try the practice test, and that will definitely make you feel more confident. If you have further questions, our customer support team, Katrina and her wonderful team of customer support officers, are available 24/7. We have live chat on the website. You can contact us on Facebook, and we are always here to take your questions. Don't hesitate to reach out, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. If you've booked your computer test, we wish you all the best and look forward to hearing lots of success stories soon.
That's right. So thank you for joining us, everyone. We've really enjoyed giving this session, and I hope it's been helpful for you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye for now.